and welcome back to my channel. In today's review, we're going to be taking a look at one of my most highly anticipated releases, the Transformers Studio Series Leader Class Jetfire. As always, we'll take a quick look at the packaging, and then we'll take an extremely detailed look at Jetfire himself. Look at the packaging, as you can see, it is standard for Leader Class figures, other than the fact that it is actually considerably larger than that of the previous Leader boxes. As you can see, you have got an actual screen capture of Jetfire from the movie Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Studio Series Jetfire. The side of the packaging has another really cool concept image of Jetfire looking extremely awesome. The back of the packaging showcases the figure in both his robot mode as well as his vehicle mode, showcases the other figures in the assortment, as well as a brief bio. Jetfire makes the ultimate sacrifice, heroically giving up his parts to restore and strengthen Optimus Prime, a review that will be coming extremely soon. The other side of the packaging has a closer up image of Jetfire Studio Series figure number 35, and that he is a Leader Class figure. Here we have the backdrop that Jetfire comes with. It is from that final battle scene in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen in the Egyptian desert, and it looks really awesome, and it is also completely massive when compared to other Studio Series backdrops, because you've got a tank and you've got loads of explosions. As always, you can take the figure and insert him into the backdrop for a more dynamic display option. And here we've got the Transformers Studio Series Leader Class Jetfire opened up and out of his packaging. Now, I must say straight away, this is probably my favorite Studio Series figure to date. This figure is absolutely remarkable in both the robot mode, the jet mode, the transformation, as well as the compatibility with an already awesome figure, the Voyager Class 32 Optimus Prime. Taking a quick look at details, the head sculpt has been remarkably recreated in plastic form. As you can see, we've got so much detail going on in this face. You've got the beard, which looks amazing, as well as the eyes, and all these pieces have been given this dry brush look to make it look as if though he is worn and battered, and you've got this entire silver section for the majority of the face. It just looks really, really fantastic and very faithful to what we see in the movie. We've also got some nice detailing on the faux cockpit section, which too looks great, and I love the mechanical detail on the arms as well. They've picked out, you know, the red wires and the blue mechanical components, and underneath Jetfire lifting his head up, as you can see, there's more of that fantastic sculpted in detailing, which just looks absolutely remarkable. Even this section here has been detailed fantastically. You've got all these different gears going around and clashing in with each other to make it look like as if though it is a mechanical structure. Some nice silver paint applications there. Turning to the arms, these two have been detailed impeccably well. Got some evidence of pistons, and this figure is also painted exceptionally well as well. Fingers have been detailed really nicely. You've got the turbines, I imagine, in the hands, which looks really, really good. Turning to the back of the figure, there's not much in terms of kibble. All this is actually supposed to be there. This should actually be a bit more flush, and all these pieces at the top are able to be moved and manipulated to your pleasing. So it tidies up fantastically well. And then moving back down to the legs, as you can see, the turbine sections, which actually transform into the turbines of the jet in vehicle mode, look great as well. So much detailing has been applied to them, and they just look really awesome. Moving down to the feet, these two look fantastic, and we've got this really rather random yellow dot. I'm not entirely sure if that's accurate to the movie. However, even if it is, I wish that they maybe would have just left it off. It does look slightly jarring, but nonetheless, this is probably the most detailed Studio Series figure to date, and is absolutely fantastic. Turning to accessories, Jetfire actually comes with 3 accessories, the first of which is his axe that we see him take down Mixmaster with in the final battle of Revenge of the Fallen. This looks fantastic and has been sculpted really nicely with some nice silver paint on either side of the blade, bringing out some of the sharper details of the sculpt. My only wish was that perhaps it was a little bit longer. It does look slightly on the short side. And in terms of robot mode integration, as you can see, there is a post that just pegs into the top of his hand, just like so. I do wish the hand could have perhaps closed in, as it does just look like he's wielding the axe while clenching it with his thumb and going like that. So it does look slightly odd in person, but it still does look cool. And if you don't wish to display it with Jetfire, there are some tabs on the wings that will plug into this piece here, so you can, if you so choose, store the axe on Jetfire's back. Another accessory that Jetfire comes with is, of course, his walking stick, as in the movie Jetfire was rather dilapidated and old Decepticon that had turned good and had been put in kind of hibernation, so that when he awoken he was really old and battered. And this is a very nice addition to Jetfire. As you can see, there's some really nice mechanical detailing on this as well, and you've got the faux tire of the jet mode on there, which looks really good. It's been mainly cast in a black and grey plastic, and there are unfortunately no paint applications. The details definitely more than make up for it. In terms of inserting it into the figure's hand, this post here does just plug into this peg on his hand, and this actually does look a little bit better than how he holds the axe. It does look as if though he's balancing himself on it, so that is definitely fantastic inclusion. The third accessory that Jetfire comes with is this abdomen section for the Voyager Class Optimus Prime. Now, the Voyager Class Optimus Prime that this figure combines with already has this exact same piece, so my reasoning behind why they've included this this is to make it compatible with the upcoming Dark of the Moon release. I imagine that they're going to swap the abdomen section out, and you can plug this section in and utilize that Dark of the Moon figure with the Leader Class Jetfire. Turning to Jetfire's articulation, he's absolutely jam-packed with it. The head is on a ball joint, so it can look upwards as well as down, can look side to side as well as left to right. The whisker sections here are on hinge joints, so they are able to move back and forth, as well as these pieces. You can angle these up in whatever way you so choose. The arms can rotate forwards and backwards. They can't do a 360 due to this section here, which hinders them. However, they can hinge out to the sides, and there is a swivel just above the elbow section. You do get more than about 90 degrees of bend out of the elbow too. Due to transformation, the hands have got a double joint there and a swivel joint at the wrist. Unfortunately, there's no clenching action on this, so hands are permanently sprayed outwards. There is no waist articulation. However, due to how this figure transforms and the compatibility with Optimus Prime, I don't think there was any way they could have engineered that. The legs are on ratchet joints, so they can kick forwards and backwards that far, as well as hinge out to the sides. The knees are double jointed in terms of ratchets, so you can ratchet them forwards and backwards like so, as well as forwards and backwards at the bottom. There is also a rotation joint just above the final ratchet joint, and the feet articulated incredibly well as well. They can also pivot from side to side. Now you can also fully extend Jetfire if you so choose, making him even larger than he is already, and the articulation on this figure is just really, really good. For some Studio Series Leader Class comparisons, here is Jetfire next to the Dark of the Moon Leader Megatron and the first movie Leader Class Blackout. As you can see, even with Jetfire's legs completely hunched, he is considerably bigger than Blackout and completely towers over the Dark of the Moon Megatron when you have Megatron's legs hunched over like he is in the movie. So overall, this is a really nice scale for a leader figure. For another size comparison, here is Jetfire next to the Voyager class Optimus Prime, and to me this is great leader and Voyager scale, just great scale in general, as Optimus is a semi-truck and Jetfire is an extremely large plane. I think the scale is fantastic here, and this is definitely what we should be getting from the Studio Series. Good size leader classes and very good size Voyager classes. This is such a good figure. And for one final comparison, here is the Studio Series Leader Class Jetfire compared to the 10-year-old Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Jetfire. As you can see, look at what they've managed to accomplish in 10 years. This figure is just so much more accurate than this original version. Now, not to take anything away from the original release, it still is and was a very good figure back in the day. But as you can see, this new one just slims down Jetfire so much more, and the height disparity isn't even a problem with this figure either, as this figure is actually the exact same height as the previous version. As you can see, look how they've managed to tidy up this whole back section with the wings, whereas this was very clunky and rather kibbly on the back. Turning the figures around, I think the color scheme on the new one is just great, and when comparing the faces, I mean, there's no competition. This one hands down beats this one, even in terms of detail. Now, turning to transformation, what you're going to want to do is fold the fists up, and these plugs will peg into those pegs. Just repeat the same process on the opposite side. Come around to this back section now and just unpeg that, take these and fold them up. Come to this piece here and untab these sections, take this whole piece here and just pull it away from the body. That will then allow you to take this whole section out, elongate it, snap that into place, and then fold out these fin sections just like so. We can then take this whole piece here and pull it down and then up, and then that will extend Jetfire all the way out just like this. What we can then do is turn our attention down to the feet, so fold these toe sections in and lift those sections up. And now here, what you're going to want to do is fold that in like so, and then fold that around so that this spiky piece is now facing the front. Repeat the same process on this side, rotate that around, and then now come to these and rotate the 5 pieces around all the way, making sure nothing falls down like so. And then we can then take these and bring these sections down and over the top of these, and then come to this side, repeat the same process, rotate this all the way up and around, bring this down, and line that up, and then come to this section here, rotate this around, and now this post here will tab into that slot there, so line them up and just tab that into place. And do the same on the opposite side. Tap that one into place also. With that step now complete, we can turn our attention to this section. Now here, what you're going to want to do is take these and bring those outwards like so. So you can take this whole section here, ratchet it up and connect it into place just like that. And then take these and fold those up also. And then come to this section and once again, fold out the foot and ratchet this piece all the way up and tab that into place, and then that will allow you to line this tab there with the slot in the turbine, and just snap that into place. And then the two halves can just collapse on each other just like this for now. We can then turn our attention to this section here, and essentially what we're going to want to do is take the head and lift it up. Now this piece, there is a tab there that will plug into a slot there, and then this tab here will tab into the slot into the head. So moving these sections back, we can proceed to take this down and trying to line it all up. We can snap the head into place. Now turning our attention to this section here, what you're going to want to do is take this and unlock that, bring that up and just line these panels up. Much like on the previous release, it is just more or less aligning the panels. Coming back to this section now, we can take this and pull the arms out from their tabs, which will then allow us to lift this whole section backwards so that we are left with something that at the moment looks along the lines of this. What we can then do is come to these sections, collapse those in upon themselves and tab them in, and then we can now line up that and tab that into place, ratchet these legs down for some more clearance. Now coming to the arms, what you're going to want to do here is that in the inside of here there is a slot that the tab on the arm here will just slide into. So you're going to want to push that down until it locks into place, and then there is a tab there that will plug into the slot on the back of the arm. So line that up and tab that one into place, and then repeat the same process on this side. Tab that in, line that up as well. What we can then do is turn our attention to these sections. Now as you can see, there is this black piece here that the tab should just squeeze into like so. Come to the opposite side and squeeze that in. Also turning our attention to the legs now, what you're going to want to do is take these pieces here and effectively pull them apart from each other, and then you're going to want to rotate this up, rotate that up, so you are left with something like this. Now this whole section now is more or less in getting this section in between these two pieces. So you just keep having to finagle that in on either side until it goes in, just like so. Flip out these panels here, keep making sure that everything stays tabbed in. Now turning to these rubber sections here, as you can see, this tab here will plug into the slot just there. So just take these and tab those in on either side. And now taking the cane, as you can see, there are two tabs there that will plug into these two slots there. So just come here and line those sections up, give those a push, and then turning our attention to the walking stick, we now want to collapse that in and then collapse that section down. And underneath here, as you can see, there is a slight tab there that will plug into the groove section here. Slide this section underneath, tab that into place, and there you have Jetfire in his awesome looking Blackbird alt mode. And here we have the Transformers Studio Series Leader Class Jetfire in his SR-71 Blackbird alt mode. And this is an absolute fantastic recreation of the aircraft that Jetfire obtained in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. As you saw from the transformation, it harkens back to the older Revenge of the Fallen days in how well engineered this figure really is. Taking a look at some of the sharper details, as you can see on the fins of the jet, he has got the skunk symbol with an even smaller kind of Air Force logo at the top of that. He has got the traditional red stripes going all the way throughout the back section of the jet mode. When turning to the cockpit section, he has that same yellow dot that we saw in the robot mode with some other tampos that are too small for the naked eye even to read. When you turn the figure underneath, as you can see, he does fold away fairly nicely, and every bit of space under here has been utilized, as you really would expect considering how big the robot mode was. The axe does store in the back section as well, which is really cool, and his cane walking stick actually transforms into one of the landing gears. Now it is actually retractable if you wish not to deploy it. You can just fold it up like so, giving you a more flusher mid-air Jetfire alt mode. Turning to the back of the figure, as you can see, you've got the thrusters. I do wish they maybe would have painted the thrusters in a silver paint to bring out some more of that sculpted in detailing, but nonetheless they've been sculpted really nicely, as you've also got that same skunk logo with the Air Force logo there on the opposite fin. So it's just a really nice looking jet alt mode. For some size comparisons, here is Studio Series Jetfire compared to the first release of Optimus Prime and the brand new clunker Bumblebee. As you can see, despite Jetfire being a leader class, he's still definitely not in scale in the vehicle mode, despite being reasonably in scale in robot mode, which is to be expected considering the Transformers in the movie did, of course, mass shift. As you can see, he is definitely a leader class. He completely towers in both length and height when compared to clunker Bumblebee. And when compared to the Voyager Optimus Prime, he's too extremely long in length. So this is a fantastic leader class figure. So overall, what are my final thoughts on the Studio Series Leader Class Jetfire? Personally, I think it is amazing. It's definitely one of the best entries into the Studio Series toy line. It is a marked improvement over the previous version. The robot mode is the most accurate robot mode we have ever got for a Jetfire figure. I think the transformation is extremely fluid and rather complex, as you would expect from a leader class figure. The alt mode for Jetfire 2 is very faithful to what we see in the movie. Whilst not perfect with some of the robot mode undercarriage, that is to be expected from all very sleek aircrafts. The articulation is fantastic. I love the use of ratchets in the knees. It's great to finally have some ratcheting joints. The paint is really nice on this figure, and I also am a big fan of the accessories. I also love how this figure is actually compatible with the Voyager class Optimus Prime. I will be doing a powered up Jetfire Prime review very, very shortly, so stay tuned for that review. Overall, I highly recommend this figure. It's probably one of my favourite Studio Series figures to date, and I've got near enough all of them. Thanks for watching.